Okay, this is so cool. I love this. I didn't have to wake up in a hotel room this morning to go speak at 2 services and then do a workshop. I got to wake up in my own bed, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful because I am the product of all of you. Everything I'm doing right now in terms of sharing spiritual principles as success tools is because of you. You were my guinea pigs in my workshops, who also gave me some great feedback. You were my spiritual support. You let me have an opportunity to shine and try stuff on in a number of different ways, and I'm really grateful for that. So thank you. Thank you all in this spirit of gratitude. I am so, so grateful. So with a show of hands, how many of you would like to have more money and financial freedom to be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want? Yeah? How many of you would like to have perfect health, where every cell in your body is filled with healed light? Yeah? Okay, great. Anybody want harmonious relationships with everybody they work with, their communities, their families, their friends? Yeah? Okay, great. Love it. Well, you're in the right place. And for those of you that didn't raise your hands, what I'd like you to do is during your meditation for the next 25 minutes, I'd really like you to hold us all in prayer, because we're going to have some fun today. Now, it's true that I have used spiritual principles for the last 34 years to grow a number of businesses and to have success in life. And it was interesting because I started attending CSL because I just sort of follow what Sharon does. And Reverend Sharon came here, so I followed her, even though I had been practicing what you all practice as well. And what's taught here at the center, I made it my spiritual home, really, in following Sharon like a younger sister should. And here, what I notice is that you all practice and believe exactly what I believe. I was introduced to metaphysical practices by my mother 34 years ago. I graduated from high school, and my mother gave me a book called The Game of Life and How to Play It, published in 1925. And Dr. Reverend Kathy Ann used that as a book of the month recently. And I tell you, I have read that book and given it away, hundreds of copies. And it really helped me to understand what we all know, which is that your words, thoughts, and emotions do affect what you are living, what your life is like today. And I love that. I love that. And as I was attending here, and this is where I'm spiritually fed, I am a big believer in tithing. And some of the senior leadership did ask me about the size of my tithing and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm doing what you guys taught me to do. Is that not right? Am I doing something wrong?" And they said, No, you're doing something different. There's something you're doing. And they asked me to describe what I use as a daily practice. And I have to tell you, I'm a self-proclaimed efficiency expert. I hate wasting time. I just hate it. And so what I did was take all of this wonderful stuff that we've been allowed to try on here at Center for Spiritual Living, and also in all of the books and teachings that I've been practicing for 34 years, and I created a very efficient daily practice. So I started to teach it several years ago at the request of an invitation of Reverend Sharon and Dr. Reverend Kathy Ann, and many of you and many of the attendees here at Center for Spiritual Living have been through those workshops, and I'm very grateful because you've helped me hone it so that I can travel around the country, and I've been coast to coast into Hawaii teaching these same principles. But one of the things that I love about Center for Spiritual Living, and the classes in particular that Dr. Reverend Kathy Ann teaches, is that it helps you to go deeper. And when you go deeper, what you find is your purpose. And my purpose right now is to elevate prosperity and freedom in the world. And that's not just our tribe, our spiritual tribe. That's the whole world. And I've had an opportunity, because of my success in business, to spread this message even further. So I'm very grateful for that, and I'm grateful for your support. So my topic today, is partnering with your Chief Spiritual Officer for success and freedom. You're probably wondering, what in the world is a Chief Spiritual Officer, right? Well, a Chief Spiritual Officer for me is that characteristic of spirit that guides me and directs me, gives me advice to achieve my goals and to keep me safe. See, I'm a CEO of companies, and I surround myself in my businesses in what I call my C-suite with people whose advice I value. So I have my chief financial officer that advises us on the financial health of our company and the direction we should take. And I have my chief information officer that advises us on technology that we need to operate our company and also for our products to put them out into the world. And I have my chief operations officer who guides and directs the operations of our company. And I decided that since I valued Spirit's advice greater than anybody else's, I would bring Spirit into my C-suite and give it the title Chief Spiritual Officer. The difference is I ended up putting it at the top of my org chart so that I, as CEO, reported to it, and the rest of our company came down below. Can you imagine what my employees said? Who's the CSO? Is it a man or is it a woman? Do we ever get to meet this person? And my response was simply, the CSO for you is a guiding principle because we are a miracle-making company. And what that means is that things are going to happen that don't make any sense, that help us to achieve our goals and to protect us from making mistakes. You're going to find things that show up that just make no sense at all, but turn out for our good. We're going to have a really, really fun time. And what I'd like you to do is go ahead and let me know. Email me, text me, call me, and let me know when stuff happens that is beyond your imagination, but has worked out for our good. Fair enough? Oh my gosh, I was just flooded with text messages, phone calls, emails about stuff happening that ended up helping our employees achieve their goals in ways that were beyond their imagination. We were having miracles happen so often that it became sort of a game. And we had a catchphrase that said, oh, in our company, miracles are typicals. Miracles are typicals. It's just wonderful. But in addition to the CSO operating and helping us in our business, it also saved my life. So as I'm there sitting in her office with my legs crossed at her computer, she noticed this little dark spot on the outside of my right leg. And she asked me what that was. Well, you heard in the introduction that I'm from Hawaii, and I'm fair, and I have a lot of freckles. So I told her, it's a freckle. It's really teeny. It's a freckle. She said she didn't feel that it was a freckle. Anybody ever have a feeling in your gut that's trying to tell you something? Yeah? Okay, so she said she didn't feel that it was a freckle. And just as I was about to dismiss her fear, my stomach started hurting. So I knew that I needed to do as she said. So I contacted her dermatologist and went in for an appointment. Now, I have to tell you that my father was a surgeon. And he taught his 10 children that surgeons and doctors are right up about here on the level of God. Yeah? Those of you that know doctors, and those doctors out there, of course, are nodding, saying, yes, of course. Well, my father told me that doctors know more than I do, and I should just take their advice. So I went to see this doctor, and he said, oh, honey, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's too small. It can't possibly be anything to worry about. You're fine. Just go ahead and go home. And my gut hurt again. So I said, doctor, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm so sorry, but you need to cut that off. And he did, and he barely got one stitch in. I mean, it was that small. I came back a week later to a diagnosis of malignant melanoma, Clark's level 3. The CSO saved my life. How many of you out there know people who have been healed because we knowingly and prayerfully have known that the power of Spirit can intercede and help them? to be healthy and healed, right? How many of you have had that experience? You know someone. I mean, even our own Dr. Reverend Kathy Ann has countless stories of that. So we have that particular belief down. It's like Microsoft Office. I can do Word and Excel like that. I know everything about those two programs. I have faith in them. I know how to manipulate them. I know how to use them. Well, same thing. I can know for you absolute perfect health. You were designed and created by infinite intelligence. Therefore, every cell in your body is perfectly healed and filled with light. You are healed. I know that program well. But what about for business and money? Maybe some of us don't know that program as well, or we don't have enough confidence in it. So we need to build some confidence in order to have that same kind of power flow through us in order to affect our finances and our health. Right? Yeah. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to make it really, really simple for you. I want to, first of all, make sure everybody's got one of these. Just in advance, before we go over that. Everybody got one? If you don't, raise your hand, and one will be brought to you. Terrific. So in addition to the CSO and Spirit interceding to help us with our health, it has also been an incredible success tool for very famous business people. Bill Gates said that often you have to rely on intuition. And Steve Jobs agreed when he said you actually have to have courage to follow your heart and intuition. And Oprah Winfrey said that she has listened to that still small voice of intuition her entire life. And the only times that she's made mistakes, when she didn't listen. So if Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Steve Jobs, Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and hundreds of other people have used intuition as a success tool, why aren't we all using it? Well, I think it's because we haven't been taught to. And thank God there are centers like this that are really teaching us how to use Spirit's power to achieve our goals. But most of us have not been taught to really listen to that still small voice of intuition. We also live in a world of data, right? We want to see it, we want to measure it, we want to analyze it, we want to evaluate it, we want to talk to our friends about it, get their opinions, talk to other advisors about it, get their opinions before we make a decision. We want to Google it and find out what other people say because we're trying really hard to make sense of it. I mean, a flash of the picture that I got of my sister's face in my mind's eye, we might try and understand that if we're not used to knowing that means contact your sister. And unfortunately, we might disregard it if it doesn't make sense. Albert Einstein put it perfectly. He said that the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. But somehow we've created this society that honors the servant or the rational mind and has forgotten the gift. I'm here today to help you to remember what you already know. That intuition and spiritual guidance and advice is a gift, and we can rely on it to achieve wonderful, wonderful things. Anything our heart desires. And here's the best part, it's really, really, really simple. So on your sheet, I've given you a few pointers. We're going to go over in a workshop this afternoon at 1:30 the 7 different steps in the daily practice. But as an efficiency expert, I want you to know that it only takes 25 minutes every single morning. And the outline of this relationship goes something like this. The first thing is that you want to recognize that intuition, the source of intuition, wants you to achieve your goals and to keep you safe. It really wants you to achieve what you want and to keep you safe. But it stands to reason that you should probably have some goals. What do you think about that? And you need to word them in the right way so that intuition and your subconscious can show up more often in obvious ways to help you to achieve your goals. Let me give you an example. We're coming up to the new year, and we often have resolutions, right? How many of you have ever said or maybe heard someone else say, I'd like to lose 10 pounds? Yeah, I'd like to lose some weight. Or maybe I'd like to get out of debt. Right? Well, let's think about that for a second. My goal is I want to lose weight. I want to get out of debt. So your goal is to be wanting to. Well, in order to make that goal true, you always have to be overweight. A better way to word that would be to say, I am so grateful that I am physically fit, trim, toned, energetic, healthy, in a pain-free body that's easily able to go on hikes and walks with my friends and family, and we have a great time. Do you see the difference? So wording your goals properly. Now, in that example, I would totally advise you to add, and I'm eternally youthful and increasingly more beautiful, just because it's fun. So wording your goals properly so that intuition and your subconscious can show up to help you is important. The second thing is to commit to this partnership with Spirit. Now, let me clarify something. I am not saying that there is any separation. There is no separation at all. We are all one. We teach that here. We believe it. We know it. But what I can tell you is that we use different names for different characteristics of Spirit, right? We call it love, divine intelligence, all-knowing power of the universe, truth, joy. So what I'd like you to do is think of a name that describes the ultimate advisor and give that name to that characteristic of Spirit. I call mine the CSO, and that works for me. That represents the ultimate advisor to me. Others in my workshops have called that characteristic God, Spirit, Holy Spirit, divine intelligence, Fred. I'm not sure why, but apparently Fred represents a very, very trusted and most valuable advisor. So pick a name, and I've given you a space on your sheet to write that down, but pick a name that represents the ultimate advisor who you can trust. All right? Now, there are clear roles and responsibilities in this partnership. Clear roles and responsibilities in this partnership. How many of you have actually worked for a living? Right, so you were hired or you chose to start a company because you have unique and wonderful talents and skills that you can perform for the benefit of your company and the benefit of yourself, right? As Reverend Sharon says, this means yes, may. Okay. So what you're going to do is use your talents and skills in remarkable ways to do your job. Would you ever barge into somebody else's area within your company and start doing their job for them? Come on, be honest. No, of course you wouldn't. But why do we keep trying to do God's job? Why do we keep trying to do God's job? Your job is to figure out what it is that you want. And with gratitude, describe it as though you've already achieved it. Spirit's job, the CSO's job, is to create the path and give you one step to take at a time to get there. You either take the step, like I did when I saw the flash of Sharon's picture in my mind's eye. You either take the step or you ask for another lead. And it's as simple as that. Spirit, I need another lead. I don't know if this is from you. That's all it takes. But what you're not allowed to do anymore is nothing. If something doesn't make sense, don't do nothing. Just ask for another lead. All right? This is the hard part. For those of you that are overachievers, like I sometimes am accused of being, I want you to know that we were taught in business school, and as we were developing in our careers, we were taught to create a goal and then figure out every possible step to get to your goal. How many of you have done that? Right. That's sort of the norm, right? That's what we're taught. You don't get to do that anymore. You figure out what it is that you want with gratitude as though you've already achieved it. Spirit creates the path and gives you one step at a time. And here's the cool part. Spirit's way is always better than yours. Let me give you an example. I travel about 150,000 miles a year domestic. So I have my routine down. I fly into a city, I get my rent-a-car, get my bags, go to my hotel, drop off my bags, and then I get back in the car to go to the closest grocery store to get water and protein shakes and my other supplies for my stay, right? So I have that down. I fly into Cleveland, and as I'm sitting in the car, getting ready to go to the grocery store that I know that's just 5 minutes away, I get this really strong thought of a grocery store that's 15 minutes away. So as Albert Einstein says, here comes the rational mind. May, it's 9 o'clock at night. Honey, your appointment is tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. That's 5 o'clock Seattle time. You're going to be too tired. Why would you drive 10 extra minutes each way in order to go to the grocery store when you know that there's one just 5 minutes away? Sound familiar? Right? So instead, in this practice, you just sort of figuratively stomp your foot and say, no, Spirit, if this is from you, CSO, if this message is from you, give me another lead. Well, then my intuitive mind starts showing up. Well, maybe it won't be a wasted drive. Maybe everything will be on sale. And it's 6 o'clock in Seattle. You're not tired. You can't go to bed anyway. I mean, what's the harm in making the drive? There could be something great there for you. Just go ahead and make the drive. So I did. Now, my goal that I had been writing down every single day in my CSO meeting, every morning, included goals in every area of my life, in my work and my life and my business. And one of my goals was to have a minimum increase of $400,000 in revenue to our company in a particular period of time. So I drive to this grocery store, and as I'm walking in, who should be walking out at exactly the same time? But a potential customer that I had met 6 months before at a trade show, who represented a lot of new business, who was not returning any of my phone calls for an appointment. Hi, I'm so happy to see you. How are you? And we strike up this conversation, and I'm then invited during my visit in Cleveland to come and make a presentation to their group. I'm happy to report it led to another one, and eventually we got a contract worth over $500,000. Okay, so now I understand how the sacred texts that we read, including the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, all sorts of different sacred texts, have these stories about miracles. Red Seas parting, water coming out of rocks, food coming down from the sky, driving to a grocery store and receiving a $500,000 contract. Right? God's way is always better. I would not have planned that going to a grocery store at 9 o'clock at night would end up allowing me to achieve a goal like that. God's way is always better. Your job, again, figure out what you want. Be grateful for it in advance every single day. Follow the practice every single day. Spirit's job is to create the path and give you one step to take at a time to get there. The third thing to recognize, well, right before the third thing, sorry, one thing that you can do also to accelerate your good coming into your life a little faster, what I call jump-starting your good, is to think about what you feel you're lacking and you want more of, and start giving that right away. If you feel that you're lacking appreciation, think of somebody you can contact every single day and just tell them how much you appreciate them. I have countless stories from people that I know who have done that and received what I would consider miracles in terms of appreciation back from people that are their superiors at their offices. If you feel that you're lacking time, find one person that's as busy as you are and offer to run an errand for them or take their dog for a walk. Give them 20 minutes. I can guarantee you when I do that, I can be in the car and have to be somewhere that I know is 20 minutes away and I've got 10 minutes to get there, and somehow, miraculously, I arrive on time. It's uncanny. And if you want more money, same is true. Start giving it. I know we're in the middle of a campaign or just completing a campaign right now, and I had a friend of mine that was in a workshop that I taught, and he was telling me that he would love very much to give to his center. This was in another state. And he said that he just couldn't. He didn't have any money left over after paying all of his bills every month. There's just nothing left. How can he give when he doesn't have anything to give? So I asked him if he would consider leaving the how of how to get money up to Spirit. And all he would need to do is create the goal. I am so grateful that I am now fully supporting my center with a minimum of X number of dollars per week. And it easily comes to me. What if? So he decided to do that, and he gave right away. Gave $5 as his commitment, his covenant. And he ended up having some interesting things happen. He made a commitment to give right away and to give unexpected income so that he could build up his confidence in this law of giving and receiving. And in doing so, what he was able to do was find about $50 that, on the ground, all sorts of different places. He found money in his pocket, and he was able to collect $50 that first week and give $5. The next week, he goes on a walk with his dog the same route every single day. But his dog pulls him off onto a different trail. And as he's on this trail with his dog, he finds a roll of money with a rubber band around it, amounting to $320. He waited there an hour in case somebody came back for it, but nobody came, so he thanked God, and he gave $32.50 the next week. He did this for several weeks in a row until he realized that Spirit was supplying money in order to get him closer to achieving his goal of giving. So he then decided to start giving on his after-tax income plus unexpected income. And within a couple of months of that time, he got a 20% raise unexpectedly at work. You can't outgive God. And if you want to receive more into your life, you might try and jumpstart your good by committing to having a goal of giving to your center. So the third and final thing to keep in mind in this 3-step process is that you need to be meeting with your CSO every single day. You have to build up a level of trust and relationship with your CSO so that you can recognize when it's trying to give you directions to achieve your goals. And the best way to do that is to spend time every single morning. Every single morning. Set aside time. In my last company, all of my employees knew, don't contact May during this time in the morning because she's meeting with the CSO. Okay, so you need to do that. You're going to have to build up that relationship. And the best way to do that is in the morning to start your day, keeping your goals at the forefront of your thoughts. This is Goal Attainment 101. Keep your goals at the forefront of your thoughts every single day so that you can notice more possibilities of intuition and your subconscious showing up to help you. All right, so in closing, what I'd like to do is have us all read this prayer together, because our spiritual leader, our founder, Ernest Holmes, had something to say about spiritual partnership. And I think you should all read this with me together. So let's go. I know that I am in partnership with the infinite. I identify myself with this partnership, knowing that it always leads to success. I accept that the action of infinite intelligence is back of everything. It is always manifesting itself, and it now does so through the thought pattern of success I am establishing for myself. Conditions and situations about me now start to correspond to my new ideas about them. The invisible presence and power indwelling and surrounding me, which is forever making manifest my thought, now creates for me the success with which I have identified my thought. May you be blessed. May you be prospered. May you be healthy and safe and happy. May all that you desire or require in this life be yours. And as Emma Curtis Hopkins said, there is good for you, and you ought to have it. And I will add that you should have it now. Thank you.